It's transfer talk, it's Wednesday, it's midday, it can mean only one thing. Bring on the fans. Crystal Palace, Mateta, sell him or let him go?
Sell.
Or keep him?
No,
Three options I gave you. Sell him. He's out.
Yeah, he's gone.
Aston Villa in the title race?
Stay tuned, we'll find out.
Is there a world where Cole Palmer leaves Chelsea for Old Trafford?
Absolutely not.
West Ham staying up, going down, Harry?
15 games left. Come on, your line. We're staying up.
Liverpool, Andy Robertson.
Hands off.
Hands off to the Spurs fans. Spurs, you can sign one player, one position. What would it be on the pitch?
No rubber, striker. We need striker.
There we go. And if the fans aren't enough on this beautiful Wednesday, let's have a slice, yes please, of Ashley Williams and James Savundra. Chelsea are certainly a club to watch, aren't they, over the next few days, with Axel Disasi and Raheem Sterling both set to depart. Douglas Luiz's time at Nottingham Forest is over as he nears a move back to Aston Villa. Jurgen Strand-Larsen's been linked with a move away from Molineux all month. Could he end up as Jean-Philippe's replacement at Crystal Palace? And James Ward-Prowse hasn't featured for West Ham under Nuno and is close to a move to their relegation rivals, Burnley. Welcome along. So much to get stuck into. Let's get our teeth first, James Savundra, into Chelsea. What can you tell the Chelsea fans watching this lunchtime about a potential move for Jeremy Jacquet?
Well, the young French defender has expressed an interest and a desire to join Chelsea in this transfer window, despite interest from plenty of other clubs. Talks ongoing now between Rennes and Chelsea about a deal. Ideally, Rennes want to keep him until the end of the season and then entertain a sale in the summer, but Chelsea want to try to sign him now, despite the fact a deal looks difficult in January. We know the likes of Bayern Munich and Liverpool are two clubs that have been reported to be interested in signing him in the summer. Chelsea wants to sign him now. Rennes want around £56 million, but Chelsea thus far haven't been willing to match that asking price.
Connor, come on, 10 centre-backs, you do not need 10.
It's about profiles, not about just the position. And I think that when you've got 10 central defenders who don't occupy the roles that we need them to occupy, it's a different story. Levi Colwill going down was a huge loss, and Tosin is really the only other ball-playing defender that can play in that central centre-back role on the ball. So I think that that's a lot of the thinking about Jacquet, who can do that, but also then fit alongside Colwill for the long term. It's a short and long-term move, which is probably why the value in this move comes from.
Ash, let's put your centre-back hat back on you. What would that be like going to a club where you think, hold on, there's already 9 people in that position, and there's not a lot, really, tell me I'm wrong, in terms of talent between much of them?
Yeah, I wouldn't be bothered. I'd back myself to get in that team, and I wouldn't be looking at who, especially with the Chelsea defenders, and no disrespect, but there's no one right up there. There's no Thiago Silva that's like, you think I've got to sit behind him. You're probably thinking I can go straight in there and start playing next week. So he'll back his own ability and his confidence to go in there and own that. Someone needs to own that Chelsea defence, so why not him?
Raheem Sterling, James Savundra, is he going to eventually be leaving Chelsea? He's got a lot of money left on his contract. Where's he going to go?
Well, Sterling and Chelsea are close to finding a solution which would see an end to this long, drawn-out saga. Chelsea are in talks with Sterling around finding a permanent exit, whether that be finalising a transfer elsewhere or him becoming a free agent. The complication here is Sterling still has 18 months left on his contract, and if he was to stay until the end of that contract, that would cost Chelsea around £25 million. Let's bear in mind, he's on around £325,000 a week. Sterling doesn't want a loan, he wants a permanent move away, so there should be a compromise over the course of the next few days whereby either he becomes a free agent or they arrange a transfer elsewhere. It is expected, though, he'll no longer be a Chelsea player come the end of the deadline.
Come on, Ash, you've played against this guy. You know on his day how much talent he's got. What do you do if you're in Raheem Sterling's shoes right now?
Well, it's difficult because it depends how he feels. He either takes the money, who wouldn't take the 25 million? You've got to put that into effect. But also, as a football player, you know it's a short career. You want to be on the pitch. There's nothing worse than just training over there and the first team are here and you're not playing on a weekend. So maybe he has to forfeit a bit of that and go and play every weekend, which is, if it was me, I'd be wanting to play because I know I haven't got that long left and I just want to perform. I just want enjoyment now. And
let's not forget the last opportunity he got was a great one at Arsenal and it didn't work out for a variety of reasons. He was in the bomb squad. He could stay. He's still in the bomb squad. Liam Rosenior says there is no bomb squad at Stamford Bridge, but where does Axel Disasi fit into all of this?
Well, we could come to a stage where on Monday, when that deadline hits at 7 o'clock, that the bomb squad has been completely disintegrated and all players have departed because Axel Disasi is expected to depart the football club before the window closes. Multiple clubs interested in England, Germany, Italy, West Ham, another club who want to sign him. Fiorentina, we understand, according to our colleagues at Sky in Italy, are considering a move for Disasi in this window. There's been previous interest from the likes of Sunderland and West Ham, who I've mentioned it as well. It's an uncertain future for Disasi. There's no danger of any 30 minutes at Chelsea, so it looks like he may be able to get a move before the end of this window, and Chelsea will be able to remove Disasi and Sterling from their wage bill.
No danger of any further minutes for Axel Disasi at Stamford Bridge, Connor, but Cole Palmer, any danger that he could be a Manchester United player? Not in January, obviously, but they're talking about the summer, the papers. It's big paper talk, and it is just paper talk, but are you worried?
No, I'm not worried. I think that when you're on a 7-year deal and he is a cornerstone of what Chelsea are trying to build towards, I don't think it's worrying at all. I think he's had a struggling year. He's for the Club World Cup. He's had injuries, recurring injuries. And I think that that's where this starts to become a story, because you can see the sort of pain on his face in the sense of he doesn't feel like he's doing enough right now, and he's struggling to get back fully fit and firing. So that can then sort of stir into a story of he's unsettled. But I think that in terms of his contract length and what it would take to get him out of Chelsea, I don't think it's at risk at all. I think, if anything, he is one of the pillar stones that Chelsea are going to build the future around, with the likes of Esteval, Caicedo, Enzo, Reece James.
Ashley, if Manchester United want to go to the next level, right, and they want to be back in this title picture, which they've missed out on so many times in recent years, to Chelsea, to Manchester City, to Liverpool, to potentially Arsenal this season, that's the kind of player they need. How big a pull is it when you support a team? Because that's what he is. He's a United fan.
Yeah, well, I got, from Chelsea's point of view, there's absolutely no way they let one of the best players in the world go. I don't think they need to do that. They won't do that at all. I've got a feeling that it's more of this rumour has come from somewhere in Manchester, I'd say, that it just gets the fans, Manchester United fans, excited and puts them in a position where they go, oh, we are in for the top players in the world. I don't see this coming out. I don't see this coming to fruition at all.
It's a huge contract, James, isn't it? Just finally on Palmer. Massive. Is it till 2033? I think if you add it up, a 9-year extension last year. I mean, what sort of numbers do you reckon we would be talking? Are we talking near £200 million here?
I think he would be. Chelsea don't want to sell him. He's a key part of their future. He is the pillar stone of what Chelsea want to try and build. It's a young squad, and he's spearheading that. I think some of the uncertainty around this groin injury clearly is playing a part in these stories, which suggest he's unsettled, because we've not seen the best of Cole Palmer. From the outside, you sort of feel that perhaps he needs to have some sort of surgery, because it's not helping him on the pitch. He's in 1 week, he's out the next week. He's clearly carrying that injury right now. But I don't think it's something that's going to happen in this window, of course. In the summer, it feels like a non-starter, because the sort of money you'd need to pay, if it was Manchester United, who clearly need to sign a central midfielder or two in the summer, you'd think the majority of the budget would go towards that. If you're paying more than £150 million for Cole Palmer, which is what Chelsea would ask for, I'm sure, then how are United going to solve their midfield options? It feels like a non-starter. Clearly, it's going to be incredibly expensive for anybody to extract Cole Palmer for Chelsea if he does indeed want to go, and that is not our information.
James, Harry is itching to join the conversation here. Tell Harry and all the West Ham fans watching this lunchtime about their new signing.
One of what could be many in the final days of this transfer window, and it's been a busy summer. Well, it's been a busy January already for West Ham. Adama Traore confirmed today, undisclosed fee. His contract was due to expire at the end of the season anyway at Fulham. Hadn't been featuring under Marco Silva. He'll wear the number 17 shirt. He'll come up alongside Nuno Espirito Santo again. They had brilliant success, didn't they, in the Europa League as well. They had a great period together between 2018 and 2021. I want to read you some quotes from Adama Traore as well. He said, I've been seeing West Ham for a long time. It's a massive club, a massive fan base. I've been watching since I was young. When I watched films about West Ham, I know about the fans and how much passion they have. I just wonder, Harry, whether he'll be featuring in The Great Escape come the end of this season.
Well, first, I've got a picture of him washing Green Street on his sofa at home first. It's a great signing. I think someone Nuno knows well from his time at Wolves, someone who is proven in the Premier League. I mean, 6-month contract, no obligation if we do go down. So if we do, obviously, unfortunately, get relegated, then we can get rid of him. But, I mean, he's someone that could get us up the pitch when we are sort of sitting back, when we have done in recent games. So I think it's a good signing.
Ashley, you've played against the guy. I mean, you just have to speak to Tim Sherwood. He was such a big fan of his when he managed him at Aston Villa. He came through La Masia. He was a Barcelona player back in the day as well. How difficult, when he's at his best, is he to mark?
Almost unstoppable. We've played against him numerous times where we've just said, don't let him get the ball, because he will take it. I think the good thing for West Ham, which you lack a little bit at the minute, is he has got the pace and the energy to get from one box to the other box on his own. We've always questioned his end product, and I still think there's question marks around that. But for West Ham, I don't think it's a bad sign. And my only question is, where does he come in? Is he an impact player? Because you've got Bowen one wing, Summerville the other wing. They had a great game on the weekend, so they're firing. I don't know. I'm not sure where he fits in, but in terms of backup, I think it's a good signing for them.
Well, in terms of where he fits in, what about Lucas Paquetá? Because that doesn't look like it's going to be West Ham anymore, does it?
No, because it looks like West Ham and Flamengo are finalising a deal for Paquetá to depart the football club. They're looking to pay something less than £36 million. So he's already told West Ham he wants to leave. He wants to go back to Brazil. He wants to play for Flamengo. The deal is verbally agreed, but a final agreement still needs to be reached in terms of fee and payment terms. We know the Brazilian window is open until the 3rd of March, but it seems like this is a deal that could get wrapped up very soon. We know West Ham have been busy already in this window, Harry, signing forward players, Traore joining it as well. I was wondering if you'll be pleased to see the back of Paquetá, somebody who clearly didn't want to be there for the remainder of the season, and keep West Ham in the Premier League.
100%. I don't feel like we need players in the changing room that don't want to be there. You sort of want players when you're in a relegation dogfight. You want players that are going to step up and want to play for the club and do whatever they can to make this team stay in the Premier League. So, I mean, good riddance. I mean, 35 million. I mean, hats off to West Ham. So I feel that's a great deal for someone who's got 18 months left on his contract and doesn't sort of get the assist and goals really that you need from a number 10.
Yeah, it does feel like good money for a player who's, if you look at his numbers since he's been at West Ham in terms of goals of assist, don't probably represent a player worth £35 million, albeit we know how talented he is.
Yeah, I mean, 35 million, like I said, it's a great bit of business. I mean, I would fly in there myself tomorrow if it means us getting that and getting the money in to get someone else in, like a number 10. I
think West Ham have snapped their hands off for that kind of money. And then when you look at how Fernandes played on the weekend as well, do you need him? I don't think so. I think he down tools a long time ago at West Ham.
Yeah. Well, look, just finally on Paquetá, Ash, how would you deal with it? You've got a lot of hats on today, but your captain's hat, stick that on for me. Because, and look, to balance this out as well, he's been through a rough time with the charges, which we don't need to go into, which he was cleared of. But he might be thinking, look, I just need to change the scenery, right? But what would you do as the captain in that dressing room when there's a player that isn't, not necessarily pulling his weight, isn't up for the fight that you need your players to be in?
Well, look, he's probably mates with all the people in the dressing room as well, so you sometimes factor that in the personal side. You know these people personally, so he might have a situation where he just wants to go off somewhere else, so like you say, and have a clean slate, so that's fair enough. But realistically, when you're trying to stay in the Premier League, give yourself a chance of staying in there now. You don't need people like that around the place. So I think it's best for all parties that he moves on, you get your money, he gets what he wants, and the rest of the players can now go about their business without him just a bit of a cloud in that midfield.
And James, I don't think there were going to be too many Christmas cards exchanged between Nuno and James Ward-Prowse, reading between the lines, but they're looking like they're going to let a player leave to a club that are only 5 points behind them in this relegation scrap.
Yeah, both clubs in the relegation zone. West Ham on 20 points, Burnley on 15. James Ward-Prowse heading there now, undergoing a medical at Burnley as we speak. He's expected to move to Burnley on loan until the end of the season. He'll become Burnley's first signing of this window. Harry, just a quick one. Are you concerned about strengthening a relegation rival?
Then I think this one baffles me. I mean, he's a leader in the dressing room. Obviously, he's a captain for Southampton all them years. He come into West Ham. He was brilliant the first year. Obviously, Nuno doesn't fancy him. He didn't fancy him at Forest. But that team is screaming out for leaders and leadership. So someone who is a leader, I feel like getting rid of him, especially to a team like Burnley, who are only 5 points behind, like you said, is a baffling decision. You're playing against him soon. He's going to bang a free kick in that top corner and level David Beckham's record, isn't he? We shall see. What's going on? Let's bounce around the transfer market in Scotland. Let's head to Glasgow. Speak live to our reporter, Gordon Duncan. Afternoon, Gordon. Who's staying? Who's going? What's happening up there?
Well, lots of big questions, and it's going to be a fascinating few days. The need for Celtic to get players in seems fairly extreme. So let's start there, and their interest in Kasper Hock, the Bodo Glimt striker, 25-year-old. They have obviously inquired about his services, but face some competition from clubs across Europe, including Norwich City, for his services. And of course, Bodo Glimt have got that big Champions League game against Atletico Madrid this midweek, so we understand a decision on his future won't be taken until after that game. game. They have signed Thomas Civanchera, of course, on loan from Borussia Mönchengladbach, but we understand they want another striker, as well as looking at centre-back and right-wing options as they try and push to retain their title, because it does look in doubt at the moment. Part of the reason for that has been the momentum built up by Rangers. They too are assessing their forward options. Ryan Nadiri, we said earlier this week a £2.6 million bid had gone in to Hansa Rostock for him. However, the German club waiting to see if they can get a replacement and may look to bump that fee up a little bit as well. Some big fees being bandied about for key Rangers players at the moment, and ones who were only signed in the summer, so that's going to be one to watch, that exit door at Ibrox. Monaco inquiring about the services of Jadey Gassama, and fee upwards of £10 million being inquired about, but we understand Rangers don't want to sell him or any other player who play a key role in the team at the moment, so the same category would see Yusuf Chermiti as well. Again, Fenerbahce inquiring, the fee mentioned there at around about £13 million, which is a lot of money, but Rangers want to hold firm and try and push towards that title. They may let players like Joe Rothwell go. Doesn't look like he's got much of a future under Danny Rule, having been signed by Russell Martin there in the summer. But there are a number of players throughout the Scottish Premiership that have had a lot of noise around them during this window. A name to keep an eye on is going to be Kieran Bowie of Hibs. Hibs have rejected a bid of around about £5 million from Hellas Verona over in Italy. We understand the Italian club will move on to other targets. However, Hibs may have a fight on their hands to keep him before the end of the window. So lots happening, in particular at the top. There is a theory that whichever team out of Celtic, Rangers and Hearts wins the transfer window wins the title. That means it's going to be a huge 5 days ahead.
Gordon, thank you very much. Right, still to come on Transfer Talk. Aston Villa are making moves in the window. Douglas Luiz is on his way back to Villa Park. What do the Villa fans make of this? We've got one here. Pri, she's coming next.
don't think they've got the strength or experience to probably win it.
But this is another body, Pri, that is going to at least drive you towards being in the race.
Yeah, totally. I think we need to replenish our squad a little bit. We're obviously light on the ground at the moment. Marlon went because he wasn't the out-and-out striker that Emery necessarily wanted. I feel like Tammy fits that profile a lot better. He obviously had his loan spell with us, scored 26 goals. He's having a good half season, or had a good half season at Besiktas. So I think, as you said, Ashley, if he scores, 7-8 goals the second half of the season, I think that's a good return. And we've signed him for less than we sold Marlon for. So, again, it works all round.
And I know it was the Championship last time he was there, but he scored 26 for you, didn't he? He's got good muscle memory in terms of finding the net at Villa Park. What can you tell Pri and the Villa fans, James Savundra, about Douglas Luiz? Is he going back to Villa Park?
Yeah, he's understood to be undergoing a medical today at Aston Villa as he puts the final touches to a loan move from Juventus. Everything's agreed for his loan move, where he's currently at Nottingham Forest, to be cancelled and for him to rejoin Aston Villa on loan until the end of the season. And Pri, this is quite an interesting part of the deal. There's also an option for Villa to buy him in the summer. Is that something you'd like Villa to entertain, or do you think this is a short-term measure for a player who was brilliant for Aston Villa in his first spell?
Yeah, as in he's a well-loved player for sure, but I don't think he's a long-term player. There were obviously rumours that we sold him for PSR purposes, and that is true, but there's also the fact that actually Unai felt like he'd reached his ceiling. And we're progressing as a club, we're progressing as a team, and the midfielders that we've got right now, when they're fit, I think are ahead of Douglas Luiz in that. He is there to tide us over for now. He knows the club, he knows the manager, he knows the style of play, so he'll slot in, and it's exactly what we need after we've had 3 pretty damning injuries in the last 3 weeks. So I think it's the right move for now, but I think had circumstances been different and we didn't have those injuries, I don't think we necessarily would have brought him back.
Reached his ceiling, Ash. Do you agree with that in terms of if Emery thinks that?
It sounds damning, but I have to agree a little bit. I think that if you've got all your midfield options available, he doesn't start in the team. But as the injuries have come about, Unai Emery has not, took long. He said we need cover in there. We need a short-term fix. And why not? Who better than to go and get someone who knows the club, knows what the manager wants, knows most of the teammates? I think it's a sensible move.
It's quite a high ceiling, though, if he has reached it. I mean, he's 27, he plays for Brazil.
I'm not at all saying that he's a bad player. I just don't know if he gets any, loads better. Is he better than a Tielemans? Probably not. So, but he's there to go and do that and prove everyone wrong and say, I'm one of the best midfielders in the world. That's what you're trying to do as a football player. But I do think maybe the way he plays is probably what he does all the time, which is good enough, and especially for Villa now with the injuries they've got, they probably need him.
Right, let's keep moving on, shall we? Mr. James Savundra, 2 strikers to keep a close eye on in the final few days of the window. I'm going to throw 2 names at you. Tell me what's happening. Jürgen Strand-Larsen, Jean-Philippe Mateta.
Well, Nottingham Forest are trying to sign Jean-Philippe Mateta. They're prepared to pay around £35 million to sign him in this transfer window. We know he wants to leave Crystal Palace. We understand he wants to leave to play Champions League football and to further his credentials with the French national team. So whether or not a move to Nottingham Forest, who are actually below Crystal Palace in the Premier League, would appeal or not, we wait to see. At the same time, we know Crystal Palace need to entertain any serious offers for Mateta in this window because he's got just 18 months left to go in his contract. They don't want to be in the same situation they've been in with Mark Gay, who they've sold in this window. So Jürgen Strand-Larsen is a potential replacement who's been eyed up right now by Crystal Palace to replace Jean-Philippe Mateta if he was to depart. They spoke to Wolves at the back end of last year, inquired about him. They were put off by the price tag, reported to be around £40 million. But if they lose Mateta, clearly they need to find a replacement. So they may need to haggle and may need to get close to that asking price. Wolves, he's not starting for them right now. We know that they would probably consider options and offers for him. They rejected an offer from Leeds earlier on this week. But Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest looking for strikers just to propel themselves away from danger right now.
Cameron, I thought you loved Jean-Philippe Mateta. Would you take this as 1 in, 1 out, Strand-Larsen, Mateta?
Yeah, you'd have to look at it like that. I mean, when you look at Mateta's career at Palace, it's quite similar to Douglas Luiz, where I think he's hit his ceiling with us. It's easy to forget how poor he was before Glasner came in, who could barely hit a barn door. He's really quite similar to how he's been this season. He just had that 18-month purple patch with players like Eze and Elise next to him, where, in honesty, I think I could score goals if they were making chances for me every week. But I think if we can get 40 million for a player who has 18 months left on his contract, next summer it runs out, if we can get 40 million for him and then get a younger striker who does have experience in the league, who did have a good season last year, it's hard to score goals in this Wolves team this year, but just with one creator like Cunha last year, if we have Pino and Johnson and Sarr and Munoz and Walton who could create chances for Strand Larsen, I think he could score goals for us.
And in terms of a Guéhi replacement, that, to me, I mean, felt like it was higher up the priority list than the striker situation. I know your hand's been turned a little bit by Mateta. Who would you like to see in? It's a bit quiet, isn't it, in terms of successes?
It is worrying. The only thought I have is that maybe, at the moment, we still have Lacroix and Richards, is there much of a priority to spend big on another centre-half if our next manager in the summer isn't going to play a back five? If we're going to play two centre-halves, so I think Lacroix and Richards are both good enough to start as a two at the back in the Premier League. I think are experienced enough defenders to do that. So are we going to spend big? When we brought Camvo in the summer, who's a prospect, who's 19, barring the mistake against Chelsea, he is a good player, but I think why would we go big on a centre-half that might not start come the summer?
Ashley Williams, Dan Gosling was sat in that seat a couple of hours ago and he said that Crystal Palace are in a relegation battle, even though they've got an 8-point cushion at the moment. Yeah. When you sort of look at what's happening with Glasner in the summer and the interview that he did after the Sunderland game, you take Guéhi out, you potentially take Jean-Philippe Mateta out. Are they in trouble?
Yeah, I do think they're in a relegation. There will be in a relegation battle. I think they've got to be very careful with the way their season's going. In terms of the transfer, I agree with you. I think Mateta had a really good season, but we haven't seen anything since then, really. He's not prolific. I do like Strand Larsen. I think in that Wolves team, even on the weekend, he comes on and he looks busy, he looks lively. I'd take him over Mateta. I agree with you completely. I think that should be the priority. If Mateta doesn't want to be there, then let him go to Nottingham Forest or whoever wants him. Let him go. I'm a big fan of that. If there was a player in the dressing room that doesn't want to be there and he's made that clear, whether in the media or to the manager, then let him try and facilitate a move for him out and get someone that does want to be there. So I would be pushing for that.
Right, stay with us. Still so much to come. We're going to be live at Nottingham Forest, who want a keeper and a defender in the transfer window. Plus, will Liverpool let Andy Robertson go before the deadline? Sarah's shaking her head. Daniel's got something to say about it. Don't go anywhere. tell us.
Yeah, let's start with Jean-Philippe Mateta, shall we? Because Nottingham Forest are trying to be as opportunistic as possible in this window. Now, at the start of the window, they drew up together a bunch of sort of striking targets that they would look at to try to see if they can get the best deal possible. Remember, they brought in Lorenzo Luca, a tall striker with Serie A experience, but obviously then became the availability of Jean-Philippe Mateta. And the club are thinking, hang on a minute, he also fits the bill, a physical striker who's scored goals in the Premier League. So they're looking at potentially trying to do a deal. They also know that Jean-Philippe Mateta's wishes maybe go back onto the continent, go and play Champions League football. But Forest's plan is very simple. They'll offer the player a deal if a price is agreed that will say, look, we will give you a wage increase, we will give you Europa League football and potentially Champions League football next year if we win that competition. This is a very ambitious club here at Nottingham Forest. They're very good at selling the project to players as well. So they're not giving up on it, even though the fact that they're not entirely sure whether Mateta would want the switch. But they're willing to wait until later in the window to potentially try to get a deal done if other clubs continue to only show a little bit of interest in the Crystal Palace forward. As for Jose Sá, well, this is a situation that's become a little bit more interesting over the last couple of hours because we now know that John Victor, the Brazilian goalkeeper, is out for the rest of the season with a knee injury. So therefore, now Nottingham Forest are looking at goalkeepers, senior goalkeepers they know to come in and compete with Matt Sells. Jose Sá is a player that is known by the recruitment team here in Nottingham Forest, having played for their sister club Olympiacos in the past, and obviously he's another player full of Premier League experience. We've also got Angus Gunn here as well, who's been the third choice for most of the season, but he wants to go and be Scotland's #1 at the World Cup this summer. So interesting to see whether he remains a player at the end of the window. So that's why they've got interest in Jose Sá.
Anton, thank you very much. Ashley Williams, what's Sean Dyche thinking with these ins and outs, do you think? I mean, Mateta we've discussed, but Jose Sá as a keeper when he's got Matt Sells, he was brilliant under Nuno, wasn't he?
I don't understand that one because it seems like you're causing an issue. You've got Sells, who I think's excellent. Just leave it as that with your backups. I don't know why you'd bring in another Premier League starter. That one doesn't make sense to me. And the Mateta one before. I think Mateta does suit Sean Dyche's style of football, I've got to be honest. The way that he plays, we've seen this so much with Sean Dyche, especially at Everton. They're just struggling for firepower, and the strikers in his teams don't get a lot of chances, a lot of quality service. So Mateta might be someone that can make himself a bit of a handful, make something out of nothing. I can see why they'd go for Mateta. Jose Sá, I don't really understand that one at all.
Yeah, Jesus has been in quite good form as well for Forest up front. So you could even go for two up front with Mateta and Jesus together, and that could be a bit of a Dyche move.
And we've seen Sean Dyche do that before, especially with his Burnley teams. He doesn't mind doing a 4-4-2. But if they can keep hold of Anderson and the likes of Gibbs-White, they will have the energy in centre midfield to play a two-man midfield and go two up front. So it's a valid point.
There'll be Brighton fans watching this hour, James, saying Luiz Dunk, hands off, won't they? What's the latest on his potential move? It's been talked about to the City ground.
Brighton have rebuffed an approach from Nottingham Forest and acquired to sign him in this window. They've got no intention of selling him in this window because he only just signed a new contract extension in December, which takes him up until the end of next season. He's still considered part of the first choice backline under Fabian Hürzeler, and he's understood to be a player that Nottingham Forest tracked last summer as well. But as things stand, Brighton have no interest in selling him, though we do know they have interest in signing Charlie Creswell from Toulouse as well. So it could be one to watch in the final days of this window. But I don't think Brighton, with all the uncertainty there right now with their performances on and off the pitch, want to let go of such a senior leader in the form of Luiz Dunk.
Ash, you had sort of different challenges towards the end of your career. Would you like a change of scenery? What do you do if you're in Luiz Dunk's shoes? He's Brighton born and bred, isn't he?
Yeah, I can't see that at all. I can't see why Brighton would let him go. I don't know why he would want to go. Brighton are the type of club that they just like to keep hold of certain players, and he's one of them. And then I can see him going into the coaching staff. He's Brighton, through and through. He knows the fabric of the club. I don't see that being a story at all.
Right, let's talk about Liverpool. Let's talk about Tottenham. James Savundra. Here's the name, Andy Robertson. What are you saying?
Expected to stay at Liverpool now until the remainder of the season. Arne Slot said as much yesterday at his pre-match press conference. It's understood that a potential move to Tottenham, there was a fee discussed around £5 million for a player who's out of contract this summer. That was a fee that was under discussion, but what needed to happen for this deal to progress would be for Liverpool to recall Kostas Tsimikas from Roma, and then Roma find a replacement for Kostas Tsimikas at left-back, and they've been unable to do so far. So this move has stalled, and it looks like at this moment in time, Arne Slot suggesting nothing is definitive, but it's likely that he remains at Liverpool until the end of the season. Whether or not he plays for Liverpool beyond that, we wait to see. But he has featured around 21, 22 times for the club this season. So you can understand why Liverpool wouldn't want to let him go without having a replacement or Tsimikas returning to the club.
I can't see it at all. They need him. Liverpool need leaders. They need experience. They need people that have been good in the dressing room. He's all of that. And they keep playing Kirkes, who hasn't performed at all this season and looks like, completely uncomfortable in that Liverpool team. They have to keep bringing Robertson on. So I don't understand from a Liverpool's point of view. I can kind of understand it from Spurs. But from Liverpool, why would you let Andy Robertson go when you're in this position where you need leadership? And he is a good pro, knows how to win games, probably steadies the ship inside the dressing room, international. There's no reason for that fee why Liverpool would let him go.
Go on, Sarah. Why are we talking about it then? You said hands off earlier.
Yeah, he just can't go. Like, we haven't got two defenders to rub together. We've had bad performance from Konate. Obviously, condolences to what he's going through now, and we don't know when he'll be back. Then we've got Van Dijk, who's gone off a cliff. Like, he was awful against Bournemouth, and you could say blame for all 3 goals. How would you feel if you were a defender or Van Dijk at Liverpool right now?
Whenever I watch Liverpool, I feel like Van Dijk is, and this is just me speculating on what I'm seeing, he's uncomfortable with Kirk. As we see the relationship he's got with Robertson for years, and it's almost like when he comes back on, he himself can relax. So Van Dijk would be wanting Robertson to stay. And as a captain, you want your other captains with you. You don't want to be on your own, trying to sort out the squad. So I'm pretty sure the players wouldn't want him to go. The fans don't want him to go, and the manager doesn't want him to go. I can't see any upside in letting Robertson go.
Daniel, you wonder how much your team Spurs can try and tempt him in the remaining days of the window. How much would you like him?
I think he would be great for us, actually. And you guys keep talking about leadership. How about we need leadership too? We need it. You've got to share it. I think it's only fair to share. And I think, you should.
No.
I think you should. I think I'm being dead serious. I think Robertson has had his time at Liverpool, and I think he needs a new challenge. He wants to do something new. Come to Spurs. Come and challenge yourself. Go and show the world.
He don't want to go Spurs.
Why not?
He doesn't want to go to Spurs.
Why not?
I'm sure he doesn't want to go Spurs. He wants to stay at Liverpool and fix the problem where he knows.
Fix the problem with us as well. Ash.
No, it's a bit. I don't. Look, listen. He's in a problem that he knows. He's been at this club for ages. Yeah. Why would he go to a team that have their own problems and try and put together? Go in fresh in the front door. Doesn't know the players. Doesn't know the club. He's going from one problem to another. I think he'd probably stay at home and try and fix what he helped build.
That's something you would do, though, personally?
Yeah, I'll do. I helped build Liverpool in the recent Liverpool, and I'd want to stay around for it. I wouldn't want to up sticks and go to a team that are struggling also.
But if we could tempt you with money, so we say £10 million to come through, you wouldn't say no to that, would you? You'd definitely be up for that, wouldn't you?
Well, listen, money talks, but I still think, it depends on each individual person. And I think Robbo is not going to go for the £10 million. I think he's going to stay around what he knows. Because it's not like we're talking about Sterling or Disasi. He plays. He features most weekends. So there'd be no reason.
Like, he's Liverpool for him.
Yeah, I don't see why.
We want him going in like a January transfer window. If he went at the end of the season with massive fanfare, which he absolutely deserves, then I would understand it. But now he's got a role to play. Quite frankly, he could be centre-half against Van Dijk tonight. We don't know. Yeah. Because, like you say, Van Dijk kind of breathes a bit easier when he's there in the back four.
And listen up, Liverpool fans, because here's the former Everton defender talking. But come on, you said it's a problem and it needs fixing. At the moment, they're only a point off a Champions League spot, which is probably going to be 5th, right? But they're 14 points off defending their title, which is not what they expected at this stage. Jamie Carragher says if they look like they're going to finish outside the top 5 places, that's when a button might be pressed. How do you fix the problem at Liverpool?
A button as in managerial
slot button.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with him. I think that it's a minimum for Liverpool to be in the top 4. Anything outside of that is unacceptable, considering what they did last season. And there's so many problems, and it's hard to put your finger on one of them. That we all stood here and said they recruited excellently, and now we're looking at it going, why have they signed those players? So, you know, if any of those clubs had the chance to sign probably any of the players they signed in the summer, they would have signed them.
It's the point you made about relationships, because as you said with Robertson and Van Dijk, what they've done is they've split up so many relationships by losing Diaz, taking out Núñez, and Trent with Salah. Like, these are all connections on the pitch, and the new players are then having to build those synergies. I think that's just going to take time.
I think it takes time, but I'm not sure that this manager, Arne Slot, is the one to do that if he doesn't get it right now, because he's not showing signs of. He keeps chopping and changing. He's not showing signs of saying of coaching Kirk into being the next Robertson or better. With Van Dijk, it seems to be like, he's not having a good 45 minutes, so I'll get him off and put Robbo on.
But the problem is not the new players. Like, they are starting. Like, I take offence at the whole Kirkes thing, because I think he's actually done some man-of-match performances in the last few weeks. But it's the old, and the new that have come in is Slot's vision and what the club signed up for. But the old are just not playing like that.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen flashes of it in the Champions League, but in the Premier League, it's just not working.
TBC, we've got to take a quick break. Still to come, Florian Plettenberg joins us live from Munich, and we're going to have news from Fulham as they go in search of a new striker and a winger. Back in a few minutes. Aston Villa. Tammy Abraham training with his new Aston Villa teammates today. We'll be hearing from Unai Emery a little bit later. They've got back-to-back home games, have they? Villa against RB Salzburg in the Europa League, where they're looking pretty, aren't they, in that table? And then Brentford in the Premier League. When will we see Tammy back in a Villa shirt? OK, delighted to welcome Sky Germany's transfer expert Florian Plettenberg to Transfer Talk. Good afternoon, Florian. Let's start by talking about a top player in Leon Goretzka. Has he held talks with Atletico Madrid, and could there be possible interest from a Premier League club as well?
Absolutely. A very solid, a very good player. He moved to Bayern Munich back in 2018. He has won everything with FC Bayern, but his contract is expiring, and the clear tendency is that he will not renew his contract. So the clear tendency is that Leon Goretzka will leave FC Bayern at the end of the season as a free agent. There are some clubs from the Premier League interested in Leon Goretzka because he has the body, he has the quality, he has the mentality for the Premier League. But Atletico Madrid is pushing to sign him right now. And we can confirm that the sporting director from Atletico, Alemani, he was in Munich yesterday, and he has a direct meeting with the player and with the agency. He has told the player and the agency about Atletico's projects, about Simeone's project, and they want to sign him right now as a replacement for Conor Gallagher. No decision yet. Let's see what will happen in the next couple of hours. But Atletico, if Leon Goretzka decides not to join them right now, is a very concrete option for Atletico as a free agent in summer.
Florian, have you got an update for us on Harry Kane's contract negotiations with Bayern Munich? We want him back here in the Premier League, Florian. He's got Shearer's record to break.
No. He will stay here. Sorry, guys. He will stay. He will continue with FC Bayern. Totally convinced about that, to be honest. And the thing what has happened in the last couple of 48 hours are many confirmations for what I have reported here at Sky UK, that the clear tendency is that he will renew his contract with FC Bayern beyond 2027, maybe until 2028 or 2029. It's not a question about days. They will speak. They will speak in the next couple of days, but I'm convinced that they will find an agreement in the next couple of weeks. And the CEO from FC Bayern, Jan-Christian Dresen, he has already made public that he is convinced that the poker game about a new contract will not be similar to the poker game back 2 or 3 years ago when there were negotiations with Tottenham. And one more detail, I'm totally convinced that he will remain one of the absolute top earners at FC Bayern right now. Harry Kane stands at 25 million gross per year salary with bonuses on top.
Another player, Florian, yet to extend his deal at Bayern Munich is Mr. Upamecano. Is he considering a move to the Premier League, to Liverpool, as a free agent in the summer?
Well, to be honest, everyone is waiting for his commitment, for his signature under the contract. The contract is ready. And FC Bayern, they will not improve their offer. He can sign a new contract until 2030 or 2031. There's a release clause included starting from the summer 2027. He can earn 20 million gross salary per year. And he will receive a big signing fee together with his agents, Marco Lichtsteiner and Sissoko. But Bayern Munich is waiting for weeks. They want to have a decision soon. And my personal opinion is that he is waiting for Liverpool, for Real Madrid. But there need to be a decision right now. And FC Bayern, they need to push in their squad planning. But they are very dependent from the yes or the no from Upamecano right now. But Liverpool is interested in Upamecano. We can confirm that.
Vielen Dank, Florian. Speak soon. Right, let's talk Tottenham, shall we? Because Spurs have been hit by an injury crisis. That's an understatement. They're going to be missing around 14 senior players, Daniel, for that Champions League game tonight against Eintracht Frankfurt. And the table's looking tight, isn't it? Ineligibility, injuries. James, what about ins and outs when it comes to Spurs this month?
Well, Conor Gallagher was a really big signing for them. They got that done and they were really pleased with that. But in terms of what they want to do in the remainder of this window, they're looking at wide options on the left-hand side of the pitch. We know Richarlison's been missing through injury, and on the right-hand side as well. Brennan Johnson was allowed to depart, but after he departed, we saw Mohamed Kudus pick up an injury. He's out until April. So those are the areas of the pitch they're looking at. I think today's match may determine things a little bit. If they can progress straight through to the knockout phase without having to play the playoff, that may spare them a little bit in terms of getting players back from injury and not putting too much of a burden on those players. But when you look at the fixtures coming up, Manchester City this weekend, they then travel to United, Newcastle, then Arsenal in February. It's going to be a very tough February. Let's see if Thomas Frank can make it to the end of it.
Ash, you've already told Daniel, forget about Andy Robertson. Go on, what do Spurs need? You tell him.
No, I think they need, first and foremost, you need a striker, but probably most teams need a striker, and it's difficult to find a quality one. But they need, watching the game on the weekend, it wasn't, they didn't produce anything, they didn't create anything. I know you've got Simmons in there to try and, I'm not sure he's really found his feet yet. So they're lacking attacking threats and options. They didn't ever look like they was going to, sweep Burnley aside. So if they can identify somebody that Thomas Frank likes in that striking position or an attacking position, then that should be priority for them.
What about Harry Kane, Daniel? We'll ask Plettenberg. They tried to do something to get Harry Kane back. Do you think he's going to break Shearer's record? He's going to sign this long deal. You've only got 30 seconds to tell me, but do you think he'll come back and eventually do it? Even if he's 37, 38, off the bench?
I would want him back in a heartbeat. Absolutely. He has to come back to us. We are his calling. We are his club. I think he'll come back home and he will definitely aim to ensure to break that record at some point. But yeah, I agreed with Ash. We do need a striker, definitely, 100%.
Coming back, Ash, any chance? Kane before he hangs his boots up to the Prem?
I hope he does, just to break Alan's record, 100%, because I know he'll be fuming.
Thank you so much for you guys for coming in. Remember the fans here, they've been here every Wednesday and we've loved it on the transfer shows. Lunchtime Live is next. We're in Naples ahead of a big night for Chelsea and we'll hear from Unai Emery.